promoting dialogue.
It is 6 p.m. in Dakar, 7 p.m. in Cotonou. Good evening and welcome to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world at wadr.org. First, our top stories. Calm returns to Maiduguri, northeast Nigeria, after a series of suicide bombings in the area.
There is heightened security vigilance in Borno State. The police unit who are having ongoing scanning operations on every entry of any public space.
Ghanaian President Mahama says illegal mining involves all sectors, including his own administration. Reactions pour in after CAF declares Morocco the 2025 African champions, even as the Senegalese Football Federation announces its appeal at the Arbitration Court for Sports.
Senegal have every right to appeal once they are into this, because the rules are clear what the appeals committee did, and then Senegal have every right to go on an appeal.
And Guinean civil society denounced the authorities' decision to print new banknotes, citing lack of economic vision. Please stay with us for details of these stories and more.
On the news, this is Deborah Amuwo.
Many thanks for joining us. Calm has been restored in Maiduguri, the capital city of Borno State, northeastern Nigeria, after a series of bombings in the area. The Borno State Police Command says the death toll from the recent explosions in Maiduguri has increased to 24. Police authorities also confirmed that over 100 people sustained injuries following the coordinated attacks which targeted busy locations, including a market, a hospital, and a post office area. Spokesman of the command, Nehum Dasso, says calm has now returned to the state capital, with security operatives maintaining a strong presence across the city.
There is heightened security vigilance in Borno State, and members of the public are also aware that we've been sensitizing them, and we've sensitized them more. And we have the police unit who are having ongoing scanning operations on every entry of any public space or public gathering.
Nehum Dasso is the spokesperson for the Borno State Police Force. Meanwhile, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu is currently in the United Kingdom holding discussions with King Charles III. Tinubu arrived in London on Tuesday as part of a two-day state visit. This marks the first state visit by a Nigerian president to the UK in nearly 4 decades. Discussions between the two leaders are focused on diplomacy and economic relations, including security cooperation. Our Abuja correspondent, Yechenu Sasetu, gives us the details in this report.
President Tinubu's arrival marks Nigeria's first official state visit to the UK since 1989 and is expected to deepen bilateral ties, particularly in trade, investment, and diplomatic cooperation. Dignitaries, government officials, and representatives of the Nigerian community were present to receive the president as engagements begin with high-level meetings and ceremonial events. The Secretary-General of the Commonwealth, Shirley Ayoko Bochwe, welcomes the visit, describing it as a significant moment for both Nigeria and the United Kingdom.
We celebrated Commonwealth Day a week ago, and so to have this visit is one that gives me a lot of happiness, because Nigeria is an invaluable member of the Commonwealth, one of the 10 top contributors to our technical fund.
She also notes that the visit presents a valuable opportunity for Nigeria to strengthen partnerships and advance its development priorities through international cooperation.
A bilateral visit like this showcases the country. It also gives the country opportunities, not just for bilateral talks, but also like a business forum, for instance, where investments can be explored.
President Tinubu's visit is expected to feature bilateral discussions, investment engagements, and cultural exchanges aiming to reinforce long-standing ties between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. For WADR, Yechenu Sasetu reporting.
In the Central Sahel region, specifically Niger, citizens are responding to the European Parliament's call for the release of deposed President Mohamed Bazoum. Last week, the EU Parliament adopted a resolution demanding the release of Bazoum, who has been detained by the current authorities in Niger since the July 2023 coup d'etat. However, civil society organizations describe this resolution as yet another form of interference in the country's internal affairs and a violation of Niger's sovereignty. Usman Umar completes the story.
In a statement issued on Tuesday, March 17, Nigerian civil society organizations stated that the resolution reflects a persistent desire among certain external groups to influence the political future of Niger. Read by Efred Al-Hassan Moulul, Secretary General of the Steering Committee of the Union of Nigerian Students, the joint statement criticizes the double standards by the European Parliament and some European Union institutions in their responses to various tragedies. The organizations called on the citizens to reject any external interference and to assume responsibility for their sovereignty and collective determination in the ongoing refounding process of the country. Those attending the event also stressed the importance of maintaining unity until any threats to Niger's sovereignty are eliminated. It's important to note that the European Parliament adopted a new resolution on Thursday, March 12, 2026, regarding the arbitrary detention of Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum. European lawmakers say the resolution aims to condemn Bazoum's detention and that of his family, while calling for the restoration of constitutional order in Niger. Nearly 2 years ago, the European Parliament previously adopted a similar resolution, almost unanimously condemning what it termed Bazoum's illegal detention.
Usman Umar with that report. Ghanaian President John Mahama says illegal mining, commonly referred to as galamsey, involves participants from various political and traditional sectors, including within his own administration. He made the remarks during a meeting with organized labor unions at the Jubilee House in Accra on Tuesday. President Mahama acknowledged that the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NAMOS, faces significant resistance from communities where chiefs, youth, and residents frequently obstruct enforcement efforts. He linked the increase in illegal mining to economic pressures in the cocoa sector, noting that low producer prices have driven some farmers to abandon cocoa farming in favor of gold mining. Additionally, Mahama emphasized the logistical challenges faced, such as lack of patrol boats and monitoring equipment for waterways and forest reserves. Here is an extract of the president's statement.
Illegal mining has eaten into the fabric of our society. I must say that it is not only a menace to our society, but it has involved a circle of traditional rulers, political party appointees and everything. And so even when one party changes, those who were running some operation who were to one party will go to the next party and say, oh, now that you have come and take over this operation and let's share, and we too will be getting small. This is what we're doing. And so I don't kid myself that we don't have our own people involved. And the work of the NIMOS is not easy. They go to a community and the chiefs, the youth, and everybody come out and resist them. And so I didn't kid myself that we will be able to win that fight overnight. But we cannot relent. We must continue.
Ghanaian President John Mahama.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
And now we turn to some news in African football. The Appeals Committee of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has annulled Senegal's victory at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON. CAF has instead declared Morocco the champions of Africa. After reviewing a protest submitted by Morocco, the Appeals Committee found that Senegal had violated Articles 82 and 84 of the AFCON regulations. As a result, Morocco has been awarded the title by default. While Morocco acknowledges the decision, Senegal denounces the ruling as unacceptable, promising an appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Christopher Aticho gives us the details.
Morocco filed a protest denouncing the behavior of the Lions of Teranga during the AFCON 2025 final. After examining the details of the case, the appeals committee overturned the initial decision of the disciplinary committee, ruling that Senegal had violated Article 82 and 84 of the AFCON regulations. As a result, the Senegalese team was declared to have forfeited the match, which was officially recorded as a 3-0 victory for the Royal Moroccan Football Federation. According to CAF Appeal Committee, Senegal lost its title by default after it refused to play and walk off the pitch, allowing Morocco to be declared African champions. In a press statement, the Royal Federation acknowledged the decisions and said its intention was never to question the sporting performance of participating teams in the competition. Meanwhile, the Senegalese Football Federation denounces the decision as unfair and unacceptable, promising to initiate an appeal before the Court of Arbitration for Sports.
Christopher Aticho reporting. Now to security concerns. In Liberia, citizens are urging the government to provide a detailed account of the recent tripartite summit aimed at resolving the border dispute with Guinea. On Monday, Presidents Joseph Boakai of Liberia, Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea, and Julius Maada Bio of Sierra Leone gathered in Conakry to address rising tensions from border disagreements among the Mano River Union countries. Despite the peace talks, Guinean soldiers crossed into Liberian territory at the Salumba entry point on Tuesday, igniting fear among residents in the area. WADR's Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker reports.
The situation is increasing pressure on the Liberian government to clearly communicate the outcomes of the leaders' meeting to the public. Amid rising concerns, Liberia's Information Minister Jerry Lemeke-Pia clarifies the public concerns.
At the conclusion of the tripartite summit, the heads of state expressed their concern regarding the proliferation of crises and conflict worldwide that comes with economic, security, and humanitarian repercussions. They reaffirmed their unwavering commitment to the principles of sovereignty, inviolability of borders, territorial integrity, political independence, good neighborliness, and fraternity.
In response to the ongoing border tensions, Stephen Zako, a senior security expert and Liberia's former immigration boss, calls on the government to meet its benchmark for military strength, emphasizing the need for a stronger security presence along the border.
And the benchmark was not drawn by us, was drawn in consultation with our partner from the region and from the globe. We all agree that security landscape needed to have this benchmark. It is but fair that we reach them in time of peace, prepare for war. While it's true, we're hoping that what was agreed on in Conakry, all will live by it, abide by it. While that is being done, let us meet our benchmark. It was projected that by now we should have had a little close to 8,000 plus amount of men in the military.
Meanwhile, members of the House of Representatives have decided to embark on a fact-checking visit to the border region to gain first-hand insight into the situation. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
Still on security matters, the Gambia Police Force has outlined its achievements, operational challenges, and strategic priorities in improving public safety and service delivery. The updates were presented during a press conference held on Tuesday at the police headquarters in Banjul. They are based on last year's performance by the Gambian Police Force. Sandonal Mendy reports.
Inspector General of Police Sidi Mukhtar Toure says more than 12,500 visibility patrols were conducted across the country. This figure contributes to a 1.13% drop in the national crime rate compared to 2024. He notes that while serious offences such as murder and burglary declined, cases of rape, robbery and arson have increased, pointing to a shift in crime patterns.
Murder reduced from 29 cases in 2024 to 21 cases in 2025. Burglary, 38 cases in 2024 to 34 cases in 2025. We noticed an increase in rape, arson, robbery.
To strengthen capacity, the police force has trained and graduated 1,336 new police constables with another 750 recruits currently undergoing training. This move aims to improve response time and boost community policing efforts. The institution also reports nearly 3,900 convictions during the period under review and improvements in investigations and prosecution. Despite these gains, Inspector General Toure acknowledges several operational challenges affecting the force.
Lack of purpose-built training academy. Professionalism starts with training. Well-trained police officers provide effective service to the public, and the basis of such excellent services is quality training. We need a state-of-the-art police academy to prepare officers before deploying them in the streets. Another challenge that we are faced with is the lack of adequate mobility for our operations.
Meanwhile, the Gambia Police Force reaffirms its commitment to professionalism, accountability, and respect for the rule of law. It emphasizes the importance of discipline and neutrality, especially as the country approaches the electoral cycle. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Sangdana Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM and online at wadr.org. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Calm returns to Maiduguri, northeast Nigeria, after a series of suicide bombings in the area. Ghanaian President Mahama says illegal mining involves all sectors, including his own administration. CAF declares Morocco the 2025 AFCON champions, and the Senegalese Football Federation announces it will appeal at the Arbitration Court for Sports. And still ahead, Guinean civil society denounced the authorities' decision to print new banknotes, citing lack of economic vision. We have a guest interview and sports news coming up. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In Guinea, civil society organizations are denouncing the authorities' decision to print new banknotes amid a liquidity crisis in the country. Among the groups is the Civil Forum, which states that printing new banknotes is not a sustainable solution to the persistent scarcity of liquidity in the national economy. It criticized the move during a press conference held on Tuesday in Conakry. Imo Edet tells us more.
The Civil Forum says this initiative lacks economic vision and rigor, adding that those who hoard resources will continue to circumvent the measures by converting their assets into foreign currency or keeping them outside the banking system. Ibrahima Balawai Jallo, head of the forum, also points to structural causes of the crisis, including dysfunctions in economic and financial management and the state's difficulties in repaying commercial banks. He adds that this situation weakens the financial system and reduces the availability of liquidity. The civil society organization says these blockages exacerbate tensions within the economic system of the country. It emphasizes the need to restore trust among economic actors, an essential condition for facilitating trade and improving the flow of money. The organization calls on the Guinean authorities to prioritize structural and sustainable reforms rather than ad hoc measures deemed insufficient to resolve the crisis.
Imo Edet reporting there. We head to Benin, where medical science students resumed internships at major hospitals across the country following days of strike. The medical students had been protesting issues relating to their training conditions and the responsibilities expected of trainee practitioners. Their action was a response to the authorities' decision to temporarily suspend clinical placements for health science students in various hospitals nationwide. Sankule Janko tells us more.
The resumption of medical internships at various hospitals in Benin follows a meeting held on March 16, 2026 between President Patrice Talon and healthcare professionals in training. During this meeting, the students voiced specific concerns regarding their supervision and risk they faced in healthcare facilities. They also discussed the duration of the temporary suspension of clinical placements, the procedures for redeploying supervisors, and necessary adjustments to the practical curriculum. In response, President Patrice Talon explained the reasons for the internship's suspension, emphasizing the need to recognize and secure the practical training framework. He assured the students that their concerns were being addressed and that appropriate solutions were being implemented. As a result of these discussions, the students agreed to resume their hospital duties, effectively ending the protest movement that had arisen due to tension surrounding training conditions and the responsibilities of training practitioners. The medical students adopted a conciliatory approach by lifting their strike order and allowing normal operations to resume in hospitals.
Sankule Janko reporting there.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is The Guest.
The guest interview focuses today on a bombshell in African football. As mentioned earlier in the news, the Appeals Committee of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has annulled Senegal's victory at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON. CAF has instead declared Morocco the champions of Africa. After reviewing a protest submitted by Morocco, the Appeals Committee found that Senegal had violated Articles 82 and 84 of the AFCON regulations. Our guest today is Mamadou Tamba, a sports analyst from the Gambia, who shares insight into this decision by CAF Appeals Committee.
Looking at the context of everything, I think this might not end here, because football is played by the rules and it's governed by the rules. And if you go back to what the appeals committee is saying, you look at the context of Articles 82 and 84 that they're quoting. Looking at that and going through it, yes, you can say they have a case to take such a decision. But also at the moment, I think it will not end here, because Senegal also have every right to pick it up and take it to the higher body, that is the Court of Arbitration of Sports, and we see what comes out of next.
CAF Appeals Committee stated in its ruling that no other appeals will be accepted, or other requests or conclusions are rejected. What does this mean?
Well, I think, to me, you cannot put up a ruling and state that no other way or no other means for anyone to appeal or do any other thing. I think that would not be fair, because looking at everything that they said in the ruling, one, it states that if the team refuses to play or leaves the ground before the end of the regulation time without the referee's authorization, it will be considered losers or eliminated from the competition. That's what Article 82 says. And Article 84, which says that if you violate that the earlier article, that is 82, 84 will come into implication or will come to be applied. That is, of course, that team will be eliminated, and 3 goals to 0 will be awarded against their opponent. The appeals committee might have a say in that. The rules are clear there. Now, if you take such a decision, the one who is absolutely on the wrong end of the decision have every right to appeal. And that is why we have the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So, to me personally, I will not agree saying that the decision will not be challenged, or the one that is not on the right side of the results will not have any other way or anywhere to go to. I think that is wrong. Senegal have every right to appeal. Once they are into this, I think they have every right to appeal, because the rules are clear, what the appeals committee did, and then Senegal have every right to go on and appeal.
What are the possibilities for Senegal now that it has decided to file an appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sports?
Yeah, first, Senegal have to establish what happened. When the game was played, when that incident happened, we look at the rules and Article 82. Any team that refuses to play. Did Senegal refuse to play at that point? Yes, it's categorically clear, because players marched out of the pitch. It was Sadio Mane who was on the pitch and tried by all means to bring other players back on. The referee did not call the game to an end. And then after 15, 17 minutes, players were able to come back to the pitch, and the game continued. So that is also a point. And then Senegal can go on to appeal and say, look, yeah, we walked off, but after talks here and there, the team was able to come back onto the pitch, and the game continued under normal circumstances until the final whistle. We scored and we won. So I think they can also bank themselves on that. So now it's up to the Court of Arbitration for Sports to look at all that happened and say, look, yeah, Senegal has a case, or Senegal, you don't have a case. What CAF said is the right thing, and that decision from CAF, we're going to upheld the decision, and then we move on. It's very painful, but we all understand that football is played by the rules and is governed by the rules.
Now, what does does this decision mean for African football?
Well, it means it's sending different messages. One, a lot of people have never come across something like this on the African continent. We have never seen a competition go all the way to the final, and then a game where the team scored a goal, it was ruled out, and then a penalty given to the opponent. The team decided to walk out of the pitch in front of everybody around the world. Both young and old, and then also after 2 months we've seen an appeal, and then the team that appealed became successful, and the team that won the trophy have been told to return the trophy, return the medals, and return the money. And then things getting crazier at the moment. The whole world is talking. It is sending a negative message out there to the continent in one way, and in the other way, it is telling people that we have to play by the rules no matter what happens. If the opponents wanted to put their house in order and table all the facts together and appeal, they might end up being successful. So it is both sides of the coin here.
Mamadou Tamba is a sports analyst from the Gambia. And in some other sports stories, veteran guard Sarah Ogoke has officially stepped down as captain of Nigeria's The Tigress basketball team, bringing an end to a remarkable international career that spanned over a decade. The announcement was made on Monday in Lyon, France, where teammates and officials gathered to honor her contributions to the national team. Speaking at the event, Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Malam Shehu Diko, paid tribute to Ogoke's impact both on and off the court, describing her as a symbol of commitment and resilience. Diko also conveyed the admiration of Presidents Bola Ahmed Tinubu and First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, highlighting Ogoke's influence as an athlete, professional, and role model. Ogoke's career with the Tigress is decorated with success, including 5 FIBA Women's Afrobasket titles, a testament to her consistency and leadership over the years. The 35-year-old is expected to make her final appearance for Nigeria in Tuesday's clash against Germany at the 2026 FIBA's Women's World Cup qualifying tournament. And with that, we have come to the end of Newslink this evening on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening. Many thanks to Mustafa Sek for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X, Instagram, and Facebook at WADR English. I'm Deborah Amuwo. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Radio Bath FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinions.
WADR. You can listen to us on 94.9 FM in Dakar through our website www.wadr.com.